we say graduate. Well, I actually didn't graduate. I went to the 11th grade and hooked up with some people who was talking about going into service. You can finish your education while you're in service. Well, I didn't know if that would work for me, but there might have been a better way to do it. This is the only way I thought that I could do this thing and get through it. So I decided, along with some other people, that some was graduates out of 12th grade at Dunbar, and some was like myself, 11th grade graduate, I'll call it. We went down to the recruiting station and we signed up, and we'll go from there. About 4 or 5 of us were in the Air Force recruiter's office. Some business he had to tend to down the hallway with someone else. And this Army, I didn't know the difference between Army and Air Force by uniform, came in and said, okay, guys, follow me. So we went about 2 doors down. We were seated. He had to go someplace else. So we heard this noise and a few 4-letter words down the hallway, and this Air Force recruiter came down, peeped in the door, and he said a couple of things. He took us back to his room and said, don't move, nobody move unless I say so. He went back to the recruiter's office, and they had a few choice words down there, and the result of that is the Army recruiter had told us when we would go and where we would go to. Fort Riley, Kansas was our next stop, instead of Lackland Air Force Base in Texas for our basic training. I thought that was, at the time, a really unique experience. It was May of 1950. 2 years after President Truman declared that the armed forces would be totally desegregated. So I'm going into a new world, if you will. There's some tales on the way to the Air Force that I would relate to you. And one is, and I'll make this as short as I can for other reasons, is the date that we were supposed to report to the recruiting station, have our last meal as civilians, was at a restaurant in Little Rock. If you know about Little Rock, much about Little Rock, it was where, it's across the street from the Main Street Bridge as it exists now. In that corner there's anyhow, the white guys, no pun intended, sat out in the dining room, had their meal. We had to eat in the kitchen area, but they had that all set up. One advantage is we got the fresh food, we got the best food, and as much as we wanted to. Anyhow, our trip from there to the train station, which is still in Little Rock, was my first taste of total integration as far as the Air Force is concerned. We went from there by Pullman car, that's the overnighter, and we were all mixed up. Now this was an experience for both sides of this picture, the blacks and the white. We had played baseball as opposing teams, but this was new. When we arrived at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, some wee hours in the morning, after about a 2-day trip, I think it was a stop, things changed, and it was really a busy time. No slacking, no changing your mind, just do as you were directed to do. And it didn't bother me. In fact, at the first onset of this, I thought it was kind of fun. I had never been out of Saline County, except where I was born in Drew County. During school, out of Saline County into Pulaski County and back into Saline County is my longest trip. So this is all like a new adventure to me. I'm en route now to Shepherd Air Force Base to learn how to repair aircraft. And
Shepherd Air Force Base is where?
In Wichita Falls, Texas.
In Texas.
Now my course was supposed to be about 6 months long. And at that time it was almost like a bumper-to-bumper auto repair service. We hadn't gone into specialty like hydraulic specials, airframe, wheels, electronics, fuel systems. We learned everything. We learned what an aircraft can do, look like, da da da. Then we started learning the systems on it. Everything from the nose to the tail. And the last block was jet engines, because there wasn't many jet engines used at that point. And I was pulled out of, myself and several other people pulled out for supposed to be a specialized course. And I found out later I was supposed to go to flight engineer school. Well, that sounded good. This course was one I was really enjoying. And being mechanically inclined, and that was my cup of tea. You'll find that out later on in my story. There was nothing too hard in that course, that part of the course, that I couldn't take. Now, back to this integrated system. When I first reported in at Shepherd, we had 3 shifts. We had 6 to 12, 12 to 6, and 6 to 12, around the clock, if you will. And I'm looking around for some, as we say, brothers, some old black guys, and I see 1 or 2 here and there. Traditionally, black people were not getting the assignments that was technical, if you will. They were more in the service branches, like hospital orderlies, cooks, and supply, and so forth and so on. So one of my downsides was I ran into a guy. I had a flight jacket, which was some of my leftover goodies. I should have reported in on a field jacket. I started it. This little guy, younger than me, shorter than me, jumped in my case for being out of uniform. He didn't just jump. I mean, he leaped. And I'm standing there taking this chewing. I haven't been chewed out in a long time. And I was just about to, tell him when to get off. I ranked him for one. Didn't have much rank, but I ranked him. Anyhow, at the end of the day, at the end of the shift, I went to see the first sergeant. He already had the news anyhow. And he explained a few things to me. So I took his better judgment. And this means, to me, I'm taking more flack than I think I ought to. But don't lose my cool, because I get kicked out of school, I won't get a chance to graduate. Well, anyhow, back to the flight engineer's course. I never made it to flight engineer school. I wound up as a gunner scanner. And this assignment took me to B-29 bomb group there in Randolph. We went out west and do some gunnery training. And I found myself in South Korea at Osan Air Base. I don't even know whether I was TDY or PCS. Things are moving so fast. Anyhow, I flew 2 missions. One we didn't do anything, just went out and back. I think it was more like a training mission than anything else. The next mission, no fighters encountered. They dropped a couple of bombs, and we went back, and we were sent back to the States, back to Randolph, 2 or 3 days later. From Florida, my itinerary started. England, Spain, Germany, France, North Africa. You remember Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart? I was there. Casablanca, Nursul, all over Europe in that KC-97. And the odd part about it is, on this tour, I keep looking around for some company, if you will. But I was the lone speck in that jar of buttermilk. And I had learned to live with this. It didn't bother me, As long as, everybody just took me for what it was.
Were you treated equally?
I was treated equally. That was, my instructor, boom operator, started out kind of caustic, but he finally settled down. It's like, this kid is just here to learn what he want to do, and he like what he want to do, and he's learning. So let's go with it. I reported to my home. Dad and Mom was nice and glad to see me. Excuse me. Come in. And now I've got a whole new thing to figure out what I'm going to do. I got a job at a furniture company. And the furniture is sprayed up the line that's coming down the assembly line. By the time it gets down to the position I'm in, I got this fuzzy stuff, that's what I call it. And I'm wiping the spray off. It comes out looking like your walnut furniture. And it's hot, and it's busy, and it's noisy. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I got all these skills, and I'm wiping furniture. Fortunately, my dad was, at that time, was working for Alcoa. Okay, now I go from sharecropper's pay to a decent wage, still unequal in pay. And one of my big complaints about that, one of the maintenance troops that worked on the conveyor belt systems and the motors, he would come down to where we were unloading this ore. And I talked to him a lot because, you know, we could understand what we were doing. And I said, you know what? I worked on $1 million airplanes, and you're telling me I can't get work up there in the maintenance department? He said, no, I'm going to tell you like it is. They won't hire you, no matter how good you are or what credentials you got. 1958, there came a steel strike. And I had like 4 years seniority, and I was first on the list to go. That's how deep they cut. Now, between 54, one of my best deals was GI Bill. Most people know about that. I took advantage of that. So I enrolled night class in Arkansas Baptist College, right over here in Little Rock. It's still here. The streets' names have changed. And I went full-time. Most people claim it's their time, they can't go full-time and work at the same time. We did. We would carpool. Tyree, Joe Woods was a Marine, Tyree was Army, and we had another kid, I can't remember his name, was Army. I was on the Air Force. And then one of the things I'm kind of proud of, my dad always wanted his kids to get an education. That was the key. To include the girls. He didn't leave the girls out of it. So I decided I'm getting some money. I've got a decent job. This is before I got laid off. And my two sisters, they wanted to go to, one was Velvetex Beauty College up here, and the other was, Nell wanted to go to Velvetex. Mike wanted to go to something to do with accounting, I think. Anyhow, I just took it out of my pocket. I was wasting money. I had a little car I was driving, and wasn't coming in at night, getting a lot of sleep. I was young and just wow. Take some of this money and put it to good use. I paid my sisters tuition for about, well, the time they needed, about 3-4 years. And my dad, he was really moved by that. He said, you didn't have to do this, you know. I said, yep, this is for you, Dad, it's for the girls. It's kind of like a pact, except it turned out the wrong way. He says, yeah, Joe Wood said, I think I'll try the Army this time. Bill Tyree said, well, I'll take Army. I said, well, you guys ought to try the Air Force. This is the way to go. And you know what? Out of all 4 of those guys, I'm the only one that actually re-enlisted. This is in 1954. I'd been going to Baptist College till 59. And I had got my bachelor's degree in education. And moving on up the line, I thought I was anyhow. So I actually go sign up for another hitch.